Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, How to Be Flexible Without Being a Contortionist. So make sure that you roll out your yoga mats and prepare for a warm-up with our sun salutations. I'm just kidding. This is going to be about the TriCaster Flex Control Panels and how they are designed to operate your TriCaster with ease and flexibility, allowing you to control every aspect of your show from anywhere with a network connection with ease and flexibility. Now, on-prem or in the cloud as well. And to hear our guests flex on us about their expertise on the Flex Control Panel first is Channel Account Manager Jeremy Morris.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. And from ClarkPowell Audiovisual Technologies, Warren Baker.
Hey, Richard. Hey, Jeremy.
Awesome.
Hi, Warren.
Thanks for coming. Hello, everyone. And also, hello, everyone that's joining us in the stream today. So now, during today's webinar, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A box, and we will try to answer them as best we can on the air live here. So, but we'll do that at the end of the webinar. So first, let's go ahead and start talking about the Flex Control Panels themselves. Jeremy. So Vizrt introduced the Flex Control Panel last year. It's an all NDI-based control panel. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes this control panel unique?
So this has been one of my favorite products that's been released in the last several years by New Tech, now Vizrt, is the fact that not only is it just controlling a TriCaster, but the fact it's doing it via NDI. So it kind of changes the network game on how you set up and deploy your productions. Using the NDI technology, we have full-on remote capability now. I also love the fact that we do have onboard audio control, which is something we haven't had in a while. And then also there's some advanced controls when it comes to PTZ. So the Flex panel has been one of my favorite products to play around with, take it to road shows, and even do these live webinars with. So it's been a great product.
It's awesome. Now, next question is for Warren. How do you see NDI being used by your clients, and who do you see using an NDI control panel like this?
Yeah, this control panel can serve a lot of different interests. Anywhere from broadcast to church to houses of worship to education, anywhere where you have some type of network type of connection, and just the flexibility of NDI, just to hook with other type of items in somebody's local network. Like, say, if you have a TriCaster, a couple of PTZ cameras, all you got to do is just pop the board on the network, and there it is. And if you have multiple TriCasters that are available, the board can actually see all the TriCasters that are on that local network. So that provides a flexibility that we haven't seen before. And also it just gives that added flexibility, just like what Jeremy said earlier, is the audio stuff that you can actually plug directly into the back of the system, which you'll see later on, which I was actually pretty excited about. It just presents a lot of nice capabilities for people from broadcast all the way to houses of worship to sports, corporate, education, you name it.
I agree. So, Jeremy, we talked a little bit about the Flex. Now, can we possibly get a chance to take a look at the new one, the Flex Dual?
Yeah, I can bring that up. We can talk about the Dual. So the Dual pretty much has changed the game when it comes to not just Flex and that NDI capability, but also from an operational standpoint. We really have changed the general layout of the panel, the capabilities of it. I can actually show you real quick what that actually looks like here. Not just connectivity-wise, but like I said, the capabilities of the panel from an operational control. We've moved some things around from an ergonomic standpoint, basic operation. We've got one-touch macros now, which we haven't had in the past. So now I've got the names of my macros are right above my names for my input sources. So the visualization that you see from an operator's perspective is completely unique in the game. And now we have all that at our fingertips. The capabilities of the multi-stripe connections. So not only can I have one Flex Dual talk to one TriCaster, I got multiple Flexes talk to different TriCasters. I can have these paired together. I can have a Flex and a Flex Dual talk to the same TriCaster if I really want to. A lot of things have also been moved around the panel. It's, again, a lot of fun. We can go hours and hours just talking about the operations, but I know we got more stuff to talk about.
Right on. Cool. So, Warren, this question's for you. Now,
Yes, sir.
Now this panel has many features that some might think are for just broadcast organizations. But what other kind of users do you see needing the TriCaster Flex for their productions?
Well, I mean, let's say that you want to do a simple network. I mean, let's say you're just doing a little fly pack that you just want to travel around with. You can have like for the Flex control panel, you can use the TriCaster Mini, put that all in a road case and take that on the road with you. And it's an easy setup. I could see this going in, just like I said, just about anywhere, really. You know, we actually have a few that are quoted for some specifically for PEG channels. If you are a government channel or educational channel and you do a lot of in-house production, this is a fairly easy setup. And if you have an existing TriCaster, just give us a call and we can actually tell you if it'll work with that particular TriCaster. It works with the newer TriCasters, of course. But there's a great little chart that's located on the Vizrt website that actually shows you the compatibility of all the Flex panels.
Right on. Awesome. Cool. Jeremy, I have a question for you. Can you tell us a little bit about the differences between the TriCaster Flex and the TriCaster Flex Dual?
So the operational components from the Flex and the Flex Dual, there's a lot of similarities, but size is going to be the big one right away. When you talk about the standard Flex panel, you're really dealing with a one stripe control. So I've got one bank for my regular switching of sources, keying assignments, and things like that. So the size differential right now is going to be very, very big in between the Dual and the standard Flex. But we do have our audio control, I/O on the back. Those are going to be the same between Flexes. So I do have stereo TRS connectors in and out. So now I can add additional audio connections straight to the back of the panel. In fact, you see the view meters that are lighting up here. That's actually coming from the onboard audio. That's direct connect. And then the other source is coming from NDI from across the network. So my number of audio sources that I can play around with varies as well. So it allows my production to grow nicely in this environment. The PTZ control is also going to be a bit different on this Flex. We do have the zoom rocker and a thumb switch here. So I do have control over this camera right now that's on preview. So that's my camera too. That's all my swag junk that's in the back of my shed here. And then also like the one-touch macros, the other comps and things like that are still at my fingertips. So I can't come over to my comps and that lights up all my different camera shots if I'm going to add, or my different macros. If I'm going to show the names of my macros are going to light up here, or just the one touch that I have assigned to these current buttons to show what I'm doing here for this demo. And then when we talk about the Dual, again, much bigger panel, a lot more real estate. We've also added a lot more cross points to the footprint of our panel that we haven't been able to do before. So if you think about from like our 4-stripe or even going back to the long panel from several years ago, we had a lot of buttons which made that panel really, really long. We've condensed this a lot, so now I've got a lot more control and a much smaller footprint, which means we can put the Flex Dual in a lot of places that our larger panels couldn't fit in the past. So now we've got a system with a lot of buttons, a lot of cross points, a lot of flexibility. Again, it's the redundancy in the name of the product. it is that flexible, and we say it over and over and over again. So when you look at the Flex Dual itself, again, 3 banks of 8 going across as our sources, compared to the 2-stripe. That's a lot more than just the 16 we had before. Audio control is still, we got that on board. The joystick that we know and love from our other panels is still available. So that's your PTZ control, that's your DVE moves, things like that. The numeric keypad, we've changed up quite a bit as well, the functionality from that. I've got a closer up shot of this. So now I can do a lot more control from this numeric keypad than on our previous versions. So this does become just our macro engine, EMIMs, comps. A lot more stuff can be done on this button panel than what we've been able to do in the past. So again, a lot of fun with this Dual. There's some deep dive videos. Otherwise, I'm going to get into that, and I know that's not the point of this show. So I'll refrain from going too far into it like I normally do.
No, I understand. I actually forgot we were doing a show for a bit there. I was just like, yeah, let's just talk about this.
No, but we can do this for an hour.
Yeah. So I have a Flex Dual on my desk too. I've been playing around with it a lot. In fact, that's kind of how I'm getting audio from y'all, is I'm getting the Teams call routed through the actual hardware outputs on that. which I like because I know whenever I've been in like a studio environment and having to plug in a talkback microphone, it's like, okay, well, let me go get cables and route them around, and I have to get behind everything and plug it in. But now it's just click, hey, I'm good to go.
Yeah, so, pause right there on that one little piece right there, and let's talk about that. Direct audio to your video control panel.
Sweet.
That just think about it. Let your mind just marinate on that a little bit. We've added audio components to the video. I mean, I know it freaks all my A1 friends out when it's like, no, audio is supposed to be my domain. It's like, no, I have actual control of audio directly onto my video production panel. That's very, very cool, very slick, and goes back to the flexibility again of our systems when we're in these hybrid productions, the remote environments, like what Warren was talking about before with the use cases, where these panels fit. If you think about a way to decentralize your production, I can put the panel out on the field of the football stadium and the control room's back in the back. Whichever way we want to do this, we now have that capability going either direction with our audio and our video control.
Yeah, and I think that's also important, because there are a lot of people who wear different hats in organizations. And especially in video production, if you're like a one-man band, that comes in super handy. And not all of us are just video professionals. There are audio professionals out there that would really appreciate knobs. I mean, that's really important.
Yes, having this on board has been fantastic.
I agree. Yeah, we're doing a one-man show pretty much here as well. So I have my boss over here that's doing all this and using a TriCaster Flex as well. So so he's able to manage all of our audio sources here, in the studio, and then also, out, from you guys as well. So that's awesome. Excellent intel, y'all. Now everyone that's watching, please remember, if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat window, and we'll start to answer them live on air. Now, I do have a few questions here. You kind of touched on this a little bit, Warren, but what systems is this going to be, the Flex and the Flex Dual? Which ones are they compatible with?
Well, the Flex panel normally is going to be used with everything, really. I mean, it's compatible with everything. The Flex Dual is a little different because it has more cross points than some of the smaller systems that have not as many cross points that are native to them. So if you're buying a TriCaster now, you could, for the most part, use either one, but you want to double check on the Dual, because the Dual might be overkill on, say, some of the other the smaller systems that have not so many cross points.
Now, another one for you, Warren, is why is it so important to have a dedicated control panel like this one?
Ease. Everybody likes to press a button. I mean, I know I like to press a button. I mean, it's and people are just button centric. I think that GUIs are great. I can and to get more into flexibility, you not only have the GUI, the interface of the TriCaster, but now you can have the best of both worlds. And the great thing about this is that you don't have to be a contortionist. You get a lot of great information on the control panel itself to do what you want to do, especially, again, when we get into like a one-man band or a two-man show where you want to use a lot of macros. A lot of that stuff is very easily accessible through the Flex panels.
Agreed. Yeah. And then also that you can, especially on the Flex Dual, you have a lot of control over as far as customization and things like that in nature too. So I really like that. And then also the other thing on, Jeremy, you can comment on this too, is I really liked having the dedicated panel on the Flex Dual for like our DDR control and being able to organize things and move around that way as well. And just to have a little bit more robust feel with a tactile control.
Yeah, and the way things have been repositioned on the panel itself, and the DDR control is now at the top of the panel, so it's up top where you have more of your numeric pad at your fingertips. So for other operators that may be using other systems that are coming over to the TriCaster or working things back and forth, it's more of an ergonomic feel that they're used to by having that numeric keypad in a different location. So that helps out quite a bit. And then the one-touch macro strip and the utility strip right above the preview program row really does completely change functionality and workflow when it goes back to the customization. We can also blank out sections of the stripes now on the Flex Dual. So when it comes to the layout, if I've got 8 cross points I'm never going to use, well, I can just blank them out completely. Now I know, hey, those aren't even lit up for me. I only have to get access to them. So it really does change how we do things, and also makes it user friendly, because now that's per user. You can set that up rather than as a global for everyone that walks in has to use it the exact same way. No, it goes back to the flexibility. Let's say it again for everyone at home. So now between users, they can have a different user experience when they walk up to that system.
We have a flex count how many times we say that word whenever we do these webinars.
We're turning into a drinking game, yeah.
Exactly. So we do have a compatibility chart that we can pull up here real quick, just so everybody can see it on here. So you can see all of the different systems that this will be compatible with, which is going to make your life in production land pretty awesome. Let's go ahead. Look, it looks like, I do have some questions here. A question from our chat. I own a CS450 from 2015. Do you have a trade-in for the Flex? Good question.
Warren, do you want to take that, or I'll do I roll?
I'm going to let you take that. I don't have that chart up right now,
Okay.
but...
So, yes. So the generic answer that I always give, being in my sales enablement role, is yes, contact your local dealer for the trade-in matrix. So we do offer trade-in credits. Again, that comes down to what is your current system, what you're trading into. So that will vary accordingly. So if you're talking about the Flex Dual, or even the TriCasters that you're talking about. Because, again, that's an older panel, usually with an older TriCaster. So you would probably need to upgrade both of those, newer TriCaster and a newer panel, to make sure you're on the current version.
Gotcha. Okay. Have some more questions here. This is a good question because we always use the term macros, and sometimes we forget that people don't understand what that means. Can you describe what macros are and give a few examples?
Sure. So that was pretty much how you saw what I was doing before when it comes to like that squeeze back look. That was a macro that I generated. Basically, whatever the TriCaster is capable of doing, I can automate that process. So that's what I had a macro assigned. So now I can do that squeeze back and bring my camera back up full screen. I hit my macro again. That does the squeeze back of my main camera, slides on my camera 2. That is my PTZ control, and then shows the ME with the panel. Now I have the wrong panel showing, so that's going to look a little bit weird because I didn't readjust my camera layout. That was showing the Flex Dual instead of the Flex. But again, the macro is an automation tool. And our macros are incredibly powerful because we can have macros control macros. We can automate just about anything you can think about when it comes to the TriCaster. We can even have macros control third-party devices. In fact, I've got several macros here that are doing just that. I've got a DSP from a third-party integrator that I'm sending commands over IP to play back audio via Dante. We have a lot of clients that are doing from third-party PTZ control or even show control. Different AV matrix switchers we can control via our macro engine. And that's just sending commands and then automating that process. So we do have a full-on professional services team, as well as the fine folks at ClarkPowell can help with that. Discuss what your macro needs might be, and then what's the best course forward. Is it going to be to do a full-on automation panel? Is it going to be doing something just button-centric to the TriCaster, or do you need to do some command line editing as well? So our macros are very, very powerful and very, very useful as well. Especially when it comes down to that one-man band operation. You want to have macros to do multiple things at once.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what he just was mentioning, is the macros, it can't be overstated what they bring to the table. And the thing is you don't have to be a computer programmer, not unless you really want to be, to set up macros. A lot of the macros are basically you hit record, and you say, I want it to do this, and you press that button, you want it to do that, you press another button, it records all of your actions, and then voila, you actually have a macro. So it's not usually a very difficult thing. Now, if you want difficult, yeah, you can do some fairly precise things with macros. But again, can't be overstated. Macros provide some flexibility that are just so important, especially not just the one-man bands, but also for groups as well.
Yeah, and one thing I kind of wanted to piggyback on that too. I know we're talking about the Flex Dual, but macros can be activated from anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be a control panel. Like, so for example, when I'm at NAB, which by the way, we'll see you in a couple weeks here. So like, I don't have the ability to bring this on stage with me, kind of thing. So what I can do is I can run macros from say like an Elgato Stream Deck, or I even have the ability to use like Live Panel, and so I'll bring my cell phone up there, and they're like, "Are you checking your text messages?" Like, no, I'm actually running my show from here. So I can do it wirelessly. So you can literally, go somewhere completely different, instead of sitting in front of your desk to do it and activate your macros that way. So that's another good way to do it. A bunch of different questions here. Let's see if we can get it on here. We've apparently said flex 500 times today. Somebody's keeping count. Let's see here. In terms of the 410, what are we giving up? Interesting question.
So going from the 410 to a standard 410 or a 410 plus?
I don't know.
Okay.
Just said 410.
Well, I'll answer the way I think. So on a 410 plus, that would be with the standard flex because it only has the 8 cross points. The older 410, no, that's no longer compatible because that's an older system. So you would have to upgrade to the current version of hardware. So that gives me options on the Flex panel to control my cross points and everything like that. Flex Dual will not work with the 410 Plus.
Gotcha. Okay. And that, piggybacking off of that question here is, what is a cross point?
Cross point is the number of inputs on your production switcher. So if you think about from a TriCaster Mini or a 410 Plus, you're going to have 8 inputs. So it's 8 cross points to switch camera sources between. If I go to like a TC1, TC1 Pro, that's 16. TriCaster 2 Elite is 32. Then you get the TC Now world on the cloud side. Right now we've got that offering as well. So we've got cross points there. And then if you really want to talk about fun stuff, we can even get the TriCaster Vector with 44 inputs. So a lot of different options.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. So let's say another question here that we kind of talked about a little bit, and this would be good because I know both of these systems or panels are different from each other. What is the audio I/O type and count on the back of the Flexes?
So it's actually the same audio board for both panels. So that's 2 stereo pairs of TRS connectors, the 1/4-inch jacks. So I've got input 1 left and right, and input 2 left and right. I also have a stereo output. So if I want to run off my aux panel, that does give me 2 1/4-inch jack outputs to feed however I want to on the audio side. We also have a headphone jack and then a talkback mic input. So if I'm going to do something talkback to, if we're running Live Call Connect, if we're doing something else where we're interfacing with a third-party intercom system, we can talk about that, how that gets wired in. So then I have a talkback channel. That microphone could be on board the control surface as well. So that's the same I/O for both Flex panels. The difference is the volume controls on the panel itself. Yeah, Richard's showing the back of the panel. That's perfect. On the Flex panel, I have the first 8 inputs available to me for touch control, for input volume control. On the Flex Dual, I just have my output channels just because there's not a whole lot of real estate for all those extra buttons. Plus, if you're running a Flex Dual, chances are you're already running a separate audio system anyways. So that's why there's a little more flexibility. Again, another word, 501, on the Flex panel than on the Flex Dual. So.
Right on, right on. So a couple of other questions here. I will start to wrap it up here in a bit, but a few of them that I can answer real quick. Does the Flex get PoE? No, we do have to plug in an IEC cable to that. And let's see here. And then this is more of a TriCaster question, but do all video inputs, cameras, PTZ, etc., record independently? You can set your TriCaster up to do it that way, definitely, for sure. So it really just depends on how you do it. So by default, not necessarily, but you can go through and start to record individual ones, so you can use it for post-production, etc. Let's see, what else do we have here? I think that might be all that we have. All right. Awesome. So that's all the time we have for today. If y'all want to take a look and see more information about the Flex Control Panels, make sure to visit our website at vizrt.com. Also, check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/VizRTofficial. I have been doing a few deep dives into some of the features of the TriCaster Flex Control Panels. So been going through a bunch of these. I've got a lot of content coming. And if you're going to NAB in Las Vegas this year, make sure you stop by the Vizrt booth. You can come say say hello, and also check out the Flex Control Panels in person. Now, there's a code on screen that you can scan to get a free pass to NAB, so check that out. We're giving free stuff away. Yay! Now, we're going to be back in the South Hall this year. I'm really excited to meet everyone in person. That's probably my favorite part about going to NAB. Now, I want to thank our guests, Jeremy Morris and Warren Baker, for joining us today. And I also want to thank all of you for watching as well. So we'll see you later. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.